Hey guys, what's going on? So we are on the Tuesday market breakdown and the markets are looking sick. So yesterday I was able to take a trade on Euro USD, which resulted in a small let's call it a break even, but I'll go over that very shortly. Firstly, jumping into DXY, this is looking really nice. So what we're currently seeing is, obviously we've seen this sort of impulsive massive pullback, sort of very corrective price, dropped off a little bit, corrective again, possible another drop off, and then we move back up. Very possible. However, we have to understand that this area here is also very key. We could pull back from here. Obviously, we had a nice little push away, and the reasoning for taking the trade on this one was actually over here. So as we had this low over here, majorly this low, not so concerned so much about this inflection zone here, it was actually this one here. We kind of broke against it, we pushed again, and then it was just like one more test in there. So there was always the possibility for something like this, which looks like it's playing out more so now. However, when we had this sort of push away from here, this is when I was kind of like, okay, so ray lines over here now, we've kind of pushed in. On the hourly, let's see what it looks like, and then we have this really nice sort of morning star formation over here. So I was like, this could actually be a very nice play to maybe come back up here. So that's what I was looking at. Going on to the 15-minute, I was like, okay, cool. Once we had that, I was looking on the 5-minute, had this little tight flag here. Because I have Euro USD on watch, I jumped straight over to it, and I had a little look on Euro USD, and I think I deleted it off the charts right now, but it was more so just over here. So what we had was this little push down, and then we had this little flag here. I didn't want to take it because of this sort of area, so I left that one out. But then as we corrected lower down here, we had this formation, and this is where I opted in for a trade. As I was able to take the trade over here, in this region over here, I was able to mitigate my risk over here, and then price dropped off. It was running overall about 2% for me, and then what happened is obviously price just corrected and made its way back up. It is what it is at the end of the day. You know, sometimes these trades, they play out and they become very, very nice and in sequence. You know, we did have a pretty decent run. We had this entry over here, then we kind of just came into this one, and then it was just kind of like, okay, are we going to create a flag here? And if this became the flag where we corrected, we squeezed and we rejected over here and we dropped off, then we would understand that, okay, cool. So we have flag into flag into flag, and it's getting a bit corrective, but we get a strong push away. It is what it is. And then we look at the DXY shaping up as well, and DXY would have gone off with it, but it looks like it is coming back down into this area. So we're just evaluating. Remember, the second part of this plan, which was the original forecast, before we had that rejection at the override there, was we were looking for price to complete this 1, 2, 3 into this inflection point here to see what happens. And more so, now we're getting that is basically what I'm focusing on. So I'm going to be looking at this very carefully as we're approaching it now. We are still 1 hour away from my entry criteria just because of the approach. However, we have to understand we do have a structured approach. So this is more than enough for me at this point. I know that this isn't the cleanest because it's very impulsive and it could form into a little bit more of a running channel to the upside. But looking at it here, we have nice equal spacing. We have this nice arcing nature as well. Something that I really do like about this as well. And you know, looking at it in hindsight, I would like to see this, you know, close around about here. Maybe we get one more push up, push back down, whatever it has to do, get involved there. But if I miss that entry and I look for the next entries, you know, insurance entry all day as well. You know, they're both very, very good. Just have to wait and see how that shapes up. So essentially, that's all I'm looking at for Euro USD. Nothing too crazy. Just want to wait and see how that shapes up. But Euro USD is looking good. The next one is EuroCAD. EuroCAD as well, structurally also very nice, just like Euro USD. Of course, in terms of a run, we have this section to this section. So that's basically where I'm looking to play it. However, obviously we have this low, and then we could get very corrective on the way down because we are so deep into the run. So you have to understand the risks that come with that. However, EuroCAD structurally is looking very nice. I'm looking for something quite similar, but I think more so I'm going to opt in for an insurance entry just because I don't have a pattern within a pattern here. I kind of just have one big corrective move, and I think an insurance entry for me would be more of a better play. So it could go missed, it may be taken, who knows, we've got to wait and see. GBP USD not yet ready in my opinion. We had a very nice sell-off from here. We had this nice 1, 2, 3. No entry available for myself. There was a probably candlestick confirmation there with the mini override. Didn't quite catch that, missed it, and then just happy to wait. If there was a larger correction over here, I would have taken that for sure. But we're correcting the way back up. Question is, are we correcting to tap into this area again before we sell off? Doesn't really look likely. It looks like we could just be moving towards this section here. So I would say very, very sharp with this. Perhaps maybe it requires some evolving, or we just have to wait and see. Maybe we are getting a ending structure. I don't know. Maybe not at that angle, but we could get something like this, and then we might even move into there. So it could take some time to develop, but we have to understand that that is also a possibility. A pattern within a pattern sort of correction there. So we'll wait and see for that one. GBP yen, it was looking very nice. Obviously, I did look at this very carefully. Now structurally there was some entries over here. I'll just quickly zoom out to the daily so we can actually see where we're tapping into. So we have this little inflection point over here that just pops out, as you can see. Call it a hook point because it looks like a hook. Comes up, taps into this inflection point, and we can see it all the way across. Structurally, this trend line doesn't matter so much, but we have to understand that we will draw on just to see how it reacts to this area. Obviously, the most important thing is keeping it very simple and waiting for a push up, push back down, and then waiting that run, and then we can get involved for the short positions, and you know where you want to position yourself. I think market direction knowledge is very, very important because it really gives you that confidence when you're taking trades. And sometimes you can take a bad trade, but it can still play out. So obviously, I'm not saying take bad trades, I'm just saying understand that when you're trading with the trend, sometimes you have more in favor for your trade rather than taking the reversal right at the top. Looking at this now, we're potentially getting this sort of expanding over here, which is not a problem. Expandings are very, very good in terms of reversal patterns. And the nice thing is obviously it's clear on the 4 hour. We can go on the 1 hour for refinement. I probably won't be going anywhere shorter for an AFT entry or anything in this area. However, what I would be looking at is obviously the strong. If we can get a pattern within a pattern, that would be interesting. Right, we get 1, 2, 3 in that section there. We'll then evaluate and see what happens. But like we said yesterday, we can just keep correcting. We can keep on making these patterns within patterns within patterns. And at the end of the day, do you really want to just keep getting caught up in bad price action? So that's something that I would take into consideration. What I was looking at over here was this. So we had on the 15-minute, we can see that we had this section over here, and then within that, if we just look at it like this, we had this, right? So when we're looking at it like that, we can see that, okay, cool. So we have this leading up structure into this inflection point, and then as we kind of moved into that, we rejected quite aggressively on the 15, and then we went down to the 5-minute for refinement, and we can see this was a possible flag. Not the easiest to take, but understandable that, in terms of the grand scheme of things, it's good. We also had this sort of level here, which I think was phenomenal. Honestly, absolutely phenomenal area, but comes with a lot of risk. And then now we have this section over here where we had something like that, which is, well, once again, it's not so bad. But now if we look at where price is, we've actually started correcting on our way back up. No surprise, we actually hit some unemployment rates over here for the GBP. We knew some volatility was coming in the market. It just happened to be on that line, so it is what it is at this point. I think what I would be focused on mostly now is I would keep it very simple, number one. I wouldn't waste my time putting energy into anything else other than where price is actually going to. Right now we're seeing price just moving up aggressively. We have to ask ourselves, why is it moving up aggressively? Where is it moving to? And when could we potentially see a turnaround? Well, the truth is we don't know yet. We just know that there's a possibility that price can come up to here, and possible rejection point here, or possible rejection point further above. We're getting more confidence in stacking up when we have these higher time frames leading with the low time frames. We have this structure leading into that structure, and possibly we get a rejection in this section where we could look for a short position. However, understand there's a risk, because when you look at it in the grand scheme of things on the weekly, you're trading in the middle of nowhere now. So we do have this point here. If we push above, it's good. I wouldn't say in the middle of nowhere. I think structurally it's very good, but we can continue just pushing up aggressively. So just understand that we don't have to sell off here. We could just aggressively start moving up to the upside. It is what it is, but more than likely with all of this correct price action, we would see a stronger pullback. So we could create something larger before we continue, or we might be in the rejection run. Those are the two case scenarios you need to be focusing on, but stay neutral. Obviously, if the shorts start coming in, get involved. If we start to correct and this starts happening, then maybe take a message from the market. New Zealand US dollar, not quite what I was looking for at this point. Have to wait it through. If we do get a push up and a flag, then maybe, but right now it's just becoming this big corrective squeeze here. It's more so in an expanding feel to it as well, but I don't know. Really and truly, I just can't really put my capital on this sort of risk. I think I was looking for the short play, but it could be turning around at this point. Maybe this was accumulation for price to go up now. So we broke below this, now we're trading above that low. We're back inside. It's very, very possible now that we will see price either 360, come back down, come back up, or we see 180 and just come straight back down when he completes this sort of expanding. But I'm more so looking at this maybe going to the upside now. It was looking good for the short because we had this as a middle section, which looked really nice. We had the corrective push down, push up, corrective push down, push up, and now we're creating correction at the top of this. So don't change the bias immediately for the short, but understand that it's possible as well. Aussie New Zealand dollar, yeah, basically just looking for price to create 1, 2, 3 essentially. I think perhaps maybe it will come back down, but I don't think it'll be the easiest entry to take for myself, and I think it would definitely probably go miss if that is the pattern. So more than likely, if we do come all the way back down to this low, then I'll take a message from the market and see if I can take along. But then we're kind of trading back into this pattern at that point. So then it's a question of, do I want to take a trade at that low? Not really. I would wait for a push up and a flag, or more so an aggressive push down and a flag to the downside. So that's basically all I'm looking for. But Aussie New Zealand, if it does make its way up here, I'll be looking for that short for sure. Aussie Yen. Aussie Yen's a bit of a tricky one because we are obviously moving to the upside, as we can see. I think until these yen pairs really turn around, then we'll get a message from the market. But more than likely, what we're seeing right now is these sort of inflection points that we need to be aware of. But more so, I think it's more than likely if we don't get an aggressive push down, we're just going to correct, slowly make our way to one of these inflection major highs, probably this one over here, and then drop off. But be very aware that we can just sell off because we have got more than enough, but we're just in very corrective price action. I'll wait for something significant to turn around before I do take a trade. But going long on this isn't a bad idea. I think the long position has gone missed now. I wouldn't have taken it, hence I didn't take it, but it would more so be in here. You would have seen this as the sort of full flag to the upside above the high with the arc. Not so bad, but then again, not very easy to reference. Maybe if you refined it a little bit closer, I don't know personally. I think if you looked at it like this and you saw this formation, perhaps you could have taken the trade. Once again, it's not my typical type of trade, not what I was looking for, but I can understand that and see that. I understand why price rejected from here and is now up here, and it can continue going. The next one I'm going to be looking at is New Zealand CAD. Now, New Zealand CAD structurally is actually looking really good. We have nice equal spacing to the high. I think this one definitely needs to go watch. We could tap into this, and if we retrace at the end of this hour, or we pin bar, and we're down here again, and we create a flag, for sure you want to be looking for that short. I think that short is definitely strategically smart. I would be looking for it more so, maybe a 5-minute AFT entry could be on the table. More so 1 hour retrace would be perfect. Stop size position I think would be a little bit large though, so you'd have to understand that. I don't know, maybe you could get away with it. You could easily get away with that stop place entry. So if we do get the retrace comes up 13 odd, yeah, you could be looking at 10% to that low, and then understanding that where we are as well, we could create this larger flag over here, or if we push through, we could start selling off aggressively and become quite a monster of a trade. More than likely this becomes a larger flag because we haven't had one to the downside since we've aggressively moved to these points. However, understand that we are coming from an impulse, so we've kind of, if I go to the 4 hour and we look at it, it would make sense. Impulse, small correction, impulse, larger correction on the 1 hour, impulse, larger correction on the 4 hour. If we angle it, it's kind of giving you that running channel vibe, but then again, it's kind of an ascending channel into the high with equal spacing, arcing nature. There's a lot of confluences here for the short, so stay sharp with this one because I think this one can shape up and be very, very nice. The next one I'll be looking at is USD Yen. USD Yen is definitely not one I'm going to be touching right now. I think the long position is possibly there, but not for me. I think I am looking for either we get something like that, and there's a short-term trade to the low. So either we come back up, we arc, we tap into this, and then we come back to this low before we go up. Who knows? I've just got to wait and see, but we could even sell off and come down to this low. With the yen pairs not really committing just yet, I think this could consolidate a little bit longer and then go there. But just to stay sharp, I would move this trend line to this high, and then I would set my alert on it, just so that you can be made aware. But I wouldn't put too much focus on it until that alert is triggered. Euro Aussie, same situation. It's just not in the best place right now. I did see this come up for the retest, and I did consider it. But then when you look at it in the big scheme of things, do you really take trades like that? Like, when do you ever take a trade like this? Never. So, or you shouldn't be. So I think more so I'm going to wait now and just see how price develops. Perhaps maybe we get something larger, which I would be somewhat more inclined to look at. If we do get something like this, I could opt in for a trade. I'll just wait and see now. I don't think I'm bothered about EA as much, but we have to understand that we are trading kind of just below the low. We're moving towards here. We could consolidate a little bit before we drop off, so it needs to accumulate some money there, especially after that massive move. We could just retrace and come back up here before we sell off. So a few variations on the table there, but more than likely we are coming to that low. Euro GBP, we had a massive retrace. I am looking for that flag. It looks like we are shaping it up, but right now as we speak, it's just one of those ones where I'm just not so convinced right now. With Euro GBP looking like this right now, if we get that daily close, that is going to be exciting, honestly, guys. Weekly close. With the daily close there, we have got the engulfing retrace there. Is it really enough? Not really, because for me, it's still in a part of this corrective move down. I just don't see this as enough confluence for me to actually just say, yes, I'll take that. Honestly, if I was to take this, I would want to see a little bit more. It's just, yeah, I think it comes down to preference. I think maybe I'm looking for too much at this point. I couldn't really refine it in. I'll have to wait and see how this shapes up. I think more so I'm going to be looking at it to just create this expanding. I want to know. It's very possible this will be the flag, but gosh, it's just a hard one for me, man, honestly. I can't make it out to be a brilliant trade. I can't look at this and say, hey, that's stunning, that's 10 out of 10, I would take that on £1 million. Could you? If you could, fair enough. I'd like to know why, but I see it somewhat like this. Not the cleanest, correction to push down. Do we just gravitate lower? Do we create something like this in terms of a variation? And then price just corrects, makes its way down here, comes back up, then we tap into this section, sell off. There's a few variations, and I don't like that. And we're also at the low, which kind of bothers me as well. So wait for more commitment. If we do break above this section here though, and we get any flags above here, for sure, I'm going to start looking for long positions. Yeah, cool. So that's kind of now it. If the flag was somewhat different, for sure, I would have opted in for that without a blink of an eye, but the flag's not different. It is what it is, and for that reason, I'm just not going to touch it. And last but not least is Aussie US dollar. No trade at the moment. Obviously, it is shaping up. It's getting there. When will it get there? I'm not quite sure. Probably today, maybe tomorrow. Same situation. Set your alert on the high. Once it gets tagged into there, then you can put it on main watch. But for now, I'll leave it on the sidelines. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Let it do its thing. Let it correctively get there. When it gets there, then we'll react to it. But for now, we are planning in preparation. We know what the plan is. If we get there, we wait for it to push up, take up the liquidity, push back in, create the continuation flag, and we're in for the sell. Keep it as simple as that, and you'll be good to go. So, keeping up with what's happening, we have EU, which I'll just pop an alert on there just in case I don't catch it. So it's going to let me know when we tap into that. Euro CAD, same situation. I will just move that one up as well. Obviously we're already in that zone, so it's not too much of a concern, but I will put the alert on because I want to see a close above and a push back down. I'm not too concerned about this third touch, but more than likely we will tap into it, and that's when I'll be focusing on that. More possible that two of these will shape up. If I was to opt into one, I think Euro USD is definitely one I would want to opt in over EuroCAD, but we'll have to wait and see because EuroCAD structurally is actually better. It's just Euro USD where it's placed could be much more better off a trade in terms of the run and potentially the position sizing, but we'll evaluate both. And remember, if you are taking these trades, you should be doing it from a level of abundance. You shouldn't be rushing into the trade. Rushing into the trade is going to cause you to make mistakes. New Zealand US dollar, sorry, still waiting for that. Patience is very, very key. And then we've got Aussie New Zealand dollar. This could M-star, to be fair. This actually really could come back up here. I will more so look at it like this, forget the expanding, and I'm going to wait to see how price reacts to this section. And keep it very simple. I don't think we need to concern ourselves with that so much. Like I said, it could cause a bias in the market. You know, you could look at it in many different ways, and I think having these trend lines there, just not good. I mean, obviously, it's good to understand what sort of structure we could be trading, but just look at it as an impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction, and possible continuation to the upside. Better way to look at it. Same situation here, not too convinced, and then we look at New Zealand CAD, almost ready, man. 30 minutes, gonna wait for that close. And Euro GBP, not yet there for me. I'm not gonna take that trade. I'm gonna set an alert over here for sure though. That's what I probably will be a mistrade for this week. I mean, not a mistrade, no trade. Who knows? We'll wait and see. GJ. Set my alert over here as well. Yeah, that's basically it. So obviously you can see how I've just kind of gone through these and how I've just basically manage them on my charts. It's very important to be making sure that, you know, not only are you alert, but you let the alerts alert you as well, because what's going to tend to happen is sometimes you'll be doing something or something else might be shaping up and your attention will be taken away from what you're actually doing. For example, I might be looking at EuroCAD and really focusing on it, and then what's actually happening is New Zealand CAD's really shaped up, and then I'm thinking, oh, okay, I need to wait a little bit longer. I already did all the homework. I really know what I was looking for. Yeah, my attention was gone somewhere else. I couldn't multi-focus at the time, and I missed my trade. And then who's to blame? You know, there's nothing wrong with missing your trade, but if you can prevent it, why not? So all in all, that's basically it for today. I will be waiting to see how that goes. If this does come through and I do take any trades, I might take a short video and post it as well, just so that obviously you can see the trade, the context behind it and so forth. But we'll wait and see. But as we can see, Euro USD is now approaching the high. Time to stay focused, time to stay alive, and we'll see how this goes. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.